This is Cronkite News.
Coming up, Arizona hits a grim milestone, surpassing 100,000 coronavirus cases in our state.
The fact that it's going to be at the polling sites where there's going to be a lot of people, that's kind of a little bit more nerve-wracking.
Plus, voters exposed, the emergency plans being put into place to stop the spread of COVID-19 at the polls. And 4 miles in 4 minutes, we'll introduce you to the local athlete who ran his way into the record books.
Cronkite News starts now.
Welcome to this Cronkite News Update. I'm Caitlin Keenahan. The total number of confirmed coronavirus cases in our state has now surpassed 100,000, and younger people are making up more than half of them. According to the Arizona Department of Health Services, more than 62,000 of the 101,441 reported cases involve people younger than 44 years old. DHS Director Dr. Kara Christ says it's those between ages 20 and 44 who can drive community spread of COVID-19. She's urging the public to take simple precautions like wearing face coverings and avoiding large gatherings. Last week, Governor Doug Ducey ordered bars, gyms, and movie theaters to close once again for 3 weeks. Phoenix Mayor Kate Gallego appeared on ABC's This Week yesterday talking about the problems that she's had with Governor Ducey's previous orders. Take a listen.
Our governor has preempted us from closing different types of businesses or moving restaurants to takeout only. We really want as many tools as possible. We had to beg to be able to implement masking orders. We were originally preempted from doing that, but I'm thankful the governor did allow cities to put masking orders in place, which I think will help if you've seen some of the data from communities that had them.
Now we're learning more about how the coronavirus spreads and the dangers of doing something as simple as talking or sneezing. A group of health experts warned that even tiny droplets from your mouth or nose can linger in the air and penetrate more deeply into your lungs. Today, 239 scientists from around the world are planning to publish an open letter to the World Health Organization and other health agencies, asking them to be more forthright in explaining how the virus can transmit through the air. Meanwhile, biotech company Regeneron announced this morning that phase 3 trials are in the works for a combination antibody treatment for COVID-19. The drug is called REGN-COV2. Late-stage clinical trials will evaluate the drug's ability to prevent infection in people who have already had close contact with an infected person. The prevention trial takes place at roughly 100 sites and is expected to include 2,000 U.S. patients. It's also being tested for its ability to treat patients who are already infected with COVID-19. Those trials are set to include more than 1,800 hospitalized patients and upwards of 1,000 non-hospitalized patients. They're expected to take place at 150 sites in the U.S., Brazil, Mexico, and Chile. A law enforcement source tells CNN that 8 Secret Service agents assigned to the vice president's trip to Arizona tested positive for coronavirus. This was right before Mike Pence was scheduled to travel here. 2 people familiar with the matter say that the agents are stuck in a Phoenix hotel with coronavirus flu-like symptoms. The positive test reportedly forced a 1-day delay so the Secret Service could swap healthy agents. Pence was scheduled to come to Arizona on Tuesday, but delayed the trip until Wednesday. His trip originally included several more public stops, but it was scaled back because of the recent spike in coronavirus cases in our state. When political candidates thought of the 2020 election year, they didn't think that it was going to include a worldwide pandemic. Now that it does, Cronkite News reporter Frankie McLister explains how Maricopa County will deal with the voting process amidst COVID-19.
Melissa Kayes was a very active person, but on May 15th, she says that she received news that changed her entire life.
I lost my sense of smell, which was the first symptom that I experienced, but the most prominent symptom that I got or that I experienced was shortness of breath.
She was diagnosed with COVID-19. 50% of COVID-19 cases are Hispanics in Maricopa County, according to their website.
I felt like I was running a marathon. Even going to the bathroom left me agitated and lightheaded and stuff, and I had to take a break from that.
Despite Kayes' ongoing health issues, she intends to get out to vote in the upcoming elections. A report by Pew Research Center indicates that Arizona is among the top states for Latino-eligible voters in the 2020 election. Arizona represents 1.2 million, or 24% of Latino voters.
We're moving towards a vote center model, which is vote anywhere.
We spent monies on COVID prior to receiving.
Recently, the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors and the Maricopa County Recorder's Office approved an emergency voting plan.
Malls will be allowing us to have those as locations so that people can go and cast their vote there.
The plan includes access to more locations and service hours, 90 to 100 voting center locations to choose from, including 50 to 60 locations available 14 days before Election Day, and voting centers and locations including tribal land and rural areas.
Salarios justos. Nuestro voto.
Mi Familia Vota is a national nonprofit organization working to unite the Latino community to promote voter registration and voter participation. They're informing the Hispanic community about taking health precautions while voting.
You don't have to line up. You don't have to be in big groups because of the pandemic we're living with.
That constant fear that I'm going to catch it anywhere.
Kais will vote in person, and one of her concerns is that even when she already had COVID-19, can she get it again?
The fact that it's going to be at the polling sites where there's going to be a lot of people, that's kind of a little bit more nerve-wracking. That's not a good enough reason for me not to go and vote. I'm going to do my part and wear my mask, wear my gloves.
According to the World Health Organization, there's currently no evidence that people who have recovered from COVID-19 and have antibodies are protected from a second infection. And additionally, Flores told us here at Cronkite News that all of their 100 plus voting centers across Maricopa County, Arizona are going to be way large enough in order to allow voters to practice social distancing. And remember, the CDC recommends that 6 feet of distance. The early and emergency voting plan in Maricopa County also includes poll workers will wear gloves and masks. Gloves will be distributed to voters, access to hand washing stations, voting by mail. Voting centers will be at convention centers, malls, and retail facilities, and voter education campaign. For Kais, having COVID-19 taught her, well, a life lesson.
And just to be nicer to your body and to trust it and, take care of it, because my body fought for me. And, now I just have to, do my best to be better for that.
The Maricopa County Recorder's Office announced important updates for the upcoming August primary. July 6th is the final day to register to vote. July 8th, ballots will start to be mailed. And July 24th is the last day to request a ballot in the mail. In Tucson, Frankie McLister, Cronkite News.
Voters can go to request.maricopa.vote to sign up for a one-time or permanent mail-in ballot. Today, the Supreme Court issued a unanimous ruling in an important case regarding the Electoral College. The court ruled that it is legal for states to punish Electoral College members who fail to fulfill a pledge to vote for the state's popular vote winner in presidential elections. The court's decision said in part that states can tell electors, quote, they have no ground for reversing the vote of millions of its citizens. That direction accords with the Constitution, as well as the trust of a nation that here, we the people rule, end quote. 10 of the nation's 538 presidential electors went rogue in 2016, attempting to vote for someone other than their pledged candidate. The issue came before the High Court after 3 Hillary Clinton electors filed lawsuits. 32 states and the District of Columbia have laws intended to discourage so-called faithless electors. Finally tonight, a story to inspire us all. Highland High School senior Leo Dashbach has made a name out of running past his limits. And in his final high school track meet, he did it in style, with a mile run in just under 4 minutes. Cronkite News reporter Jose Solis talked to him about his new record and his pursuit of greatness.
Leo Dashbach! An accomplishment that only 10 other U.S. high schoolers had ever done has now been completed by 11.
9:57!
I just felt kind of satisfied and really happy with what I'd done. I was just kind of shocked. It took a very long time for it to really kick in.
Leo Dashbach achieved one of the rarest feats for high school runners, a sub-4 minute mile. He did it in El Dorado Hills, California during the Quarantine Classico on May 23rd.
I was screaming at the freaking computer screen. I was yelling. I thought, oh my God, we're going to get kicked out of here. Yeah, it was a great moment.
My stomach wasn't feeling all too great, but as I hit my strides, the headache went away, and I just, I started to feel a lot more confident. I think when I was on the line, I was the most confident I could ever be.
Finishing with less than half a second to spare, it wasn't a matter of if, but when Dashbach would run a sub-4. He has been using the mark in practice, not as something to beat, but to satiate his need for speed.
They said, we're canceling the season. He texted me the next day and said, Coach, I'm still hungry. I still send me workouts. I'm going to time trial. He ran a mile like 3 weeks after that, ran 4:03. And he's been doing this by himself.
I've worked so hard over the course of all 4 years. And so that's just kind of what makes it so I can just kind of take this in stride with what I've been doing and just kind of realize that, like, you know, I really did earn it.
For most, Dashbox's sub-4 mile is an achievement, but for him, it is now a standard, one that he will attempt to maintain as he returns to the track to find the next limit and break it. Jose Solis, Cronkite News.
In addition to his sub-4 mile, Dashbox's high school career ends with 6 outdoor state titles in cross country and track and field combined. He'll also be enrolled at the University of Washington later this fall. That's it for this edition of Cronkite News. For Arizona news updates throughout the day, follow us on Facebook and Twitter. And find us online at cronkitenews.azpbs.org.